Hey guys, this is Super Matt, and I'm with Mark Logsdon today. Today is our first time homebuyer series. Mark was nice enough to come over here and help us out with answering some questions. So I got some good questions for you today. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
I'm glad you're here today, man. I'm glad to see you. So here we go. What does home insurance cover?
So home insurance is going to cover anything from the slab up to the roof.
Okay.
And then it will cover some other structures within about 100 feet of the slab.
Okay.
As well as liability. So if somebody gets physically hurt on the property, the home insurance acts as the first line of defense.
So like if neighbors' kids come over and they're in the pool or playing around and somebody gets hurt or...
Exactly, and tries to sue.
And we've heard on the radio before about the animals or dog bite or something like that. That even covers part of that
Absolutely,
too.
absolutely.
Wow.
There's, I've seen dog bites that have ranged between 100,000 up to 380,000.
Oh my goodness, that's something. So when you're talking about other buildings or things that are detached from the home, what would that be? That would be like another garage or some type of a shed?
It'd be a shed, your fence, if you have a patio out in the backyard, as well as the AC unit.
I see.
And vegetation.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Vegetation actually falls under there as well.
I didn't know that. So vegetation meaning trees and landscaping and that type of stuff?
Landscaping, exactly.
Very interesting.
Rocks.
Yeah?
So.
Yeah? Okay. All right. So what's not covered by homeowners insurance?
So there's a fine line on what's not covered.
Okay.
So there are differences in the perils that are covered and perils that aren't covered.
Okay.
As far as the physical structure goes, most of it's the same across the board. So the house, the fence, everything within 100 feet of the slab. When you're talking about the differences, the main difference are the policy types for the home insurance.
Okay.
There are several different varieties that cover different perils. There's named peril, there's broad peril, and there's open peril.
Okay.
And so if you have a basic named peril policy, they'll cover you for 8 named perils. So that's wind, hail, lightning, fire, theft, basic ones.
Okay.
When you get into broad peril, that's when you get into like aircraft and collapsing of the property. And then open peril is on the flip side. So instead of listing what's covered, it says we will cover you for everything listed under, everything that could possibly happen to your house except 9 exclusions.
Yeah, right.
And the 9 exclusions are war, nuclear disaster, flood, and earthquake. Those are separate policies in Texas. Intentional acts by the actual owners of the property. So it'd be fraud.
Yep.
Governmental interaction. The government knocks down the fence. They actually carry insurance for those purposes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yep.
Wow.
And then normal wear and tear, rust, and mold.
Understood. Okay. So how do we understand the value of our homes?
So as far
from
as
the insurance side of it.
Gotcha. So the value of the home can be higher or lower than what you're actually paying for it, or what your appraisal. There we go. Comes back at.
Okay.
What we care about is replacement cost.
Yeah.
So if the home from the slab up to the roof costs $150,000 to rebuild, it doesn't matter if you're buying it for $50,000 or $300,000. We only want replacement cost.
Okay.
So you want to make sure that you have a 100% replacement cost coverage on your home.
Because what if you moved into it today and then 5 years from now there was something that happened and you had a claim? Well, the material costs are probably not going to be the same cost when you bought it.
Exactly. Well, and the home insurance actually has a safeguard for that.
Okay.
They have an inflation guard. Okay. People look at their home insurance and say, my rate went up $200, $300 a year. I haven't filed a claim. But your dwelling has gone up with the rise of materials.
Yes, yep. And when we see major disasters in the states or in the nation too, that all those materials go to that a lot of times, which always raises prices up too.
Exactly.
Gas prices, you name it, it all.
Exactly.
Groceries, you name it like that, right?
And it's also within the area. So if your zip code, because it's tied to a lot of different things, but if your zip code has had a loss of maybe hail, or there's been multiple fires, you're in a brush area, those factors go into that rate, and sometimes it just makes sense to call a broker like myself to shop you around.
Okay. So how does personal assessments for personal property, cost, how do y'all look at that? And as a person who would be purchasing a home, let's say first-time home buyers. So I've been renting, and I'm not covering, the stuff. Well, maybe renter's insurance covers that, but I'm not covering, all my personal items. How do I go about pricing all that?
Yeah.
Coverage. So I've got clothes and appliances and jewelry and guns and whatever, right?
So when it comes time for actually purchasing your insurance to cover your personal property, there are two different types.
Okay.
There's actual cash value and there's replacement cost. A prime example, if you bought a TV 5 years ago, if you have an actual cash value policy, they'll depreciate out what they pay you back. So if it costs $500, it's 5 years old, they'll give you $100 to replace that. Replacement cost says if it's $500 to buy it, then that's what you'll get to replace it.
Understood.
When it comes time to evaluate, what you want to do is you want to take a video of everything you have.
Okay.
And that way you're able to, you have a video inventory, save that into the cloud, your Google Drive, anything like that.
Right.
But you also want to take note of your special items. So collectors, guns, jewelry, furs, antiques, because those are all capped with every carrier. Some carriers have a jewelry limit of $500. So if you don't have added jewelry coverage on the policy and you have a loss, they will only give you $500 even if you lost $10,000 in jewelry.
Right. Well, that's not good.
That is not good.
No, it's not.
That's a bad day.
It's a bad day.
Yeah.
You're not getting anything replaced with the $500 when it was a $10,000 watch, right?
And that's important to take note too when you look at your deductibles.
Okay.
You have two different types of deductibles.
Okay.
You have wind and hail. You have what's called all other peril. So the wind and hail is typically a percentage, and what that percentage is correlated to is what the dwelling coverage amount is.
Okay.
So if the replacement cost says it's $150,000 and you have a 1% deductible, that would be 1% of that $150,000.
Understood.
A lot of people think it's 1% of the claim amount.
Right. It's
or
not.
1% of what they pay for the policy. And that's not the case.
Yes.
The all other peril is where it comes into play when you have anything that's not wind or hail related. So fire, anything like that.
Okay. All right. Great. All right. So talking about that, let's talk about hail since we're in Texas, right? So hail and roof issues and the replacement procedure.
Yes.
Okay. So hail came through. It's nailed my neighborhood, right? My roof has got some pretty good dings on it. We're going to call in and start a claim. You're going to send somebody out, and they're going to start that and look at it. What happens from there?
So as soon as somebody thinks they have a claim, what they'll want to do is if they call me, that's great because I'm a broker. I'm not the insurance carrier.
Right.
If they call the carrier directly and a claim is filed but not paid out, that goes on your record as a $0 claim, and it actually will raise your home insurance rates.
Okay.
So what you'll want to do is call me as the broker and ask for a recommendation of a roofer. You want a licensed and bonded roofer.
Sure.
Not somebody that just drives by and says, hey, we had a hailstorm. I'm going to get on your roof.
Yeah, right.
Because that would not be good.
No.
So you'll want to have a roofer take a look.
Okay.
And you want to have a reputable one to give you feedback. If it needs to be replaced, that's when you start the claim. If it needs to have repairs, same thing. If the repairs aren't more than your deductible, you don't want to open up a claim.
Yeah, understood.
And then you also want to make sure that they're replacing it with a roof that's going to last a while.
Okay. All right. So on the other side of that, what about flood? Now I know that FEMA is the one who provides flood insurance, but as a broker, you can help people get involved with purchasing flood insurance.
Absolutely.
And also, too, I understand that you guys don't make anything when there's a flood insurance purchase, right? FEMA gets the money. That's who gets the money. That's who covers it, right?
Exactly.
But you can help facilitate them getting in touch with FEMA and applying for that, right?
Absolutely. So we can write flood insurance.
Okay.
There's two separate markets. There's the FEMA market, and then some clients qualify for what's called the private market. And what the private market is are investors that are basically shorting the possibility of your home flooding.
Understood.
The FEMA market is capped at 250,000 in
Yes.
coverage on the building.
Yeah, on residential.
On
Yes.
residential,
Mhm.
and then 100,000 in contents, but that's depreciated contents.
Mm-hmm.
On the private market, I can go as high as $1 million in
Mhm.
coverage,
Okay.
and it's replacement cost on the contents.
Okay, that's good to know about that too, because most people don't know that. They don't
Yep.
understand there's another way that you can have coverage
Yep.
for flood on that being a private side of that
Absolutely.
too. Okay,
Absolutely.
understood. So, once you tell us what's the best way to contact you, when can we contact you, and maybe do you have a website or email or something you want to talk about
Absolutely.
too? Okay,
Absolutely.
what is that?
So my phone number is 682
Okay.
478-9903. That goes right to my cell phone.
Okay.
You can call or text me.
Okay.
And then my website, it actually will redirect to a way that you can reach me.
Okay.
Is www.mark, that's M-A-R-K, Logsdon, Logsdon.com.
Okay.
And that'll take you exactly where you need to go and have all my contact info.
Awesome. Well, we'll put all that on the video, and
Awesome.
they'll, because nobody's going to remember
Yeah.
how to spell your name or pronounce your
Exactly.
name for one,
Yeah.
and then or the phone number too. And then if they don't reach you and they have to leave a voicemail, you'll call them back.
Absolutely.
For sure on that.
Absolutely.
Awesome.